both in control against Arcosis debate and keep going back and forth.
That'll be easy.
More feel stabilized. Before the turn of fate. We gotta move.
It is May 13, 2011, and this is Tyler. Why is Kennigit's webcam frozen?
Did my webcam freeze?
What?
Just to spite you.
What is going on?
Can you hear me?
Jeff just looks dead-eyed like he's about to kill someone.
I'm actually pretty happy.
There you go. So let's introduce everyone. We've got Jeff in control Robinson. How is California treating you? You were just traveling recently, weren't you?
Dude, okay, so Sunday I leave for Houston. There's connection flights, a whole spiel. I get in Tuesday, I do Inside the Game, my NASL match, State of the Game, and then something else. Wednesday I cast NASL, hop on a plane for an 11 p.m. flight, get into Minneapolis at 9 a.m. without sleeping.
That's the worst, dude.
Flight gets canceled, so I stay in Minneapolis for the day, and now here I am, after casting NASL.
That is the worst. That is the worst. Tyler, Liquid Tyler, looking emo. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Pretty good, you know, man. I'm drinking that permafrost and cranberry. It's very delicious.
Your new sponsor?
I'm
No,
jealous.
sponsor.
I'm moving in on that shiznit.
Yeah, just a friend to stay the game, you know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. They are good friends of us.
They have to help me out first. I want to be their friend.
IdrA, how are things in IdrA land?
Pretty good. I just got back from
What
California.
drama have you cooked up lately?
Nothing in the last... Oh, well,
Cruncher.
the Cruncher thingy last night. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was last night. Well, I
Greg's
guess.
joke went over my head, too, because Complexity officially responded saying they're very disappointed in IdrA.
And then he did
And
the sad
IdrA responded with a sad face.
That was like
I
a
didn't
flash
get
of
it.
brilliance, too. I was going to say something sarcastic, and then I was just like, oh, frowny face.
Very
Yeah.
well played.
That
Very
was
well played.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It
It was
was
good.
pretty good. Kennigit, I know you have a lot of fans out there. That's actually a joke, but how's everything going in Team Liquid's neck of the woods?
I was telling JP before the show that people were so mad that I was coming on State of the Game that some guy called me a faggot in the street last night as I was walking downtown.
Well,
I was like,
well, ban him from TL forums because apparently that's
well,
what you guys
yeah,
do.
he didn't have an account. He was just a lurker. He was too scared to say it on Team Liquid, so he posted on Reddit, made a thread.
All right.
Wait. Okay, you're joking, though, right? That part?
Yeah, I'm joking about the part
Okay.
where the guy is on the street. Yeah.
It's crazy enough for that to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of this, so we'll just talk about what we're going to be talking about on the show. We've got the MLG GOM exchange program that was announced earlier today. We've also got new patch notes and their effect on the game, GSL Finals, TSL3 Finals, GSL Team League, and why IM isn't in the league. The Elephant in the Room article, which spurred a shitstorm of shits or something. Team Liquid versus IdrA, which really isn't anything to maybe versus about.
Oh, no, it is.
Oh, your webcam's frozen in the exact same position as it was last
You know
time.
what's really funny is JP pretends like he's like, oh, there's nothing going on. Yet me and IdrA are beside each other on this screen, and he's pretending like it was just a coincidence that we were both in the same episode.
He's praying something happens.
Yeah, he's praying.
Hey guys, it worked good last week. Let's see if we can make that magic happen again. We've also got shout-outs and user questions towards the end of the show. So let's go ahead and start things off with the MLG GOM exchange program. It was announced earlier this morning, I think around 10 Central, something like that, that MLG and GOM are working together. We're going to have some Koreans coming to MLG Columbus and Ford to other events. We've also got the, what is it? We've got top 3, I think, top 4 going over to Code A if they want to accept it. So basically, I just want to bring this up and see what you guys as pro players and community members really have to say about this. And Jeff,
No,
you
you
mentioned
link me with pro players.
you want to be a pro player too?
Yeah, you can just leave me there.
Okay, so Kennigit, the pros from Team Liquid Pro. Jeff, you talked about it earlier when we were in the pre-show that you actually had some concerns, or I forgot the exact words you used, but you want to talk about the exchange program a little bit. So what are your thoughts on the program, man?
Well, let me just first and foremost say my answer is going to be a little bit convoluted. There's no way to look at me and say I'm against it or I'm for it. If I was forced to pick one, I'd say I'm for it. I think it's a good thing overall. It is. So let me just say it. I'll just get it all out there, and I guess we can dissect it if we want, or we can forget about it. But I feel like it's problematic in the sense that, one, the advantages are skewed. Koreans are instantly qualified for a very privileged position, being in the championship bracket, whereas non-Koreans have to win in the same setting and then are put in a completely different scenario where they have to compete for a month to get a prize pool that is even smaller, actually, than just a 3-day event in an MLG. And there's no continuation there as well. I mean, if you fight to stay in Code A, then congrats, you get to stay for another month where you do the same thing for less money.
Right.
I think that's a little odd. I think it's a little bit odd how much it's skewed towards the Koreans as well, in the sense that there's one per group, so there's a higher chance of them doing great. It's also arbitrary. There's no them like making it up through the bracket play. It's an invite essentially, which is also moving away from the MLG model. There's no invite process. Everyone in those positions earn those spots, and also it sets a weird precedent for Koreans where they don't have to, like, this is a qualification tournament, but because none of them were showing tremendous interest, all of a sudden we come out and say, well, how about we just inject 4 of them into the top tier of our system, and they get to play half as many matches, not even half as many, like a fifth as many matches,
right,
for a higher prize. So in that sense, it gives me pause. Now, the things it's obviously good for is, hell, we're bringing Koreans into MLG. It's going to make for better games. More people are interested in seeing Koreans interact with non-Koreans, so it's going to be really awesome in that sense. I do think it is unrealistic to expect Koreans to spend more money to go to an MLG. Like, let's be honest, the ticket from Korea to the United States is extremely expensive. It's a different country, so there did need to be some incentive there, so I understand that as well. And then also the opportunity for a non-Korean. Naniwa has very openly said he wants to go to Korea, so if he wins, or takes top 4 or 3, whatever it is, then now he has his ticket to make that much more viable, and I think that's fantastic. And it's not just Naniwa, there's other players as well. Select, of course, would probably be another guy who would take that opportunity. But I looked at this, and I know some players can be vehemently against it. We've seen TT1 say that it's a spit in the face or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's his own prerogative.
Probably is still pissed or beating the wall up or something.
Cats will be very against it.
Yeah.
I know Duran from Fnatic does not like it. Of course, that's he's on the same team as TT1, but
yeah,
there are people that are going to be against it. I would have liked to have had a system where we pay for their travel, but then they move through the open bracket. How awesome would it be for a random Joe Schmo noob who's never going to make it to the championship bracket, but gets to face off with Starktail Bomber in round of 2? And, like, that's their dream come true. But also, how cool of a storyline is it that they have to earn their merit through a bajillion non-Korean people in the open bracket and kind of earn their spots. I think that makes for a better scenario, and also it's more fair. So I think it would have been better advertising, more fair, and just better for the tournament. Of course, the fear there on MLG's behalf is that a Korean doesn't make it, so they just paid all this money to have a Korean come in and then just get knocked out in the group stage or whatever.
Right.
So I understand both sides, and I'm okay with that. And like I said, I'm mostly okay with it. But the other thing I want to draw, I know I'm being long-winded here, forgive me, but the last thing I want to draw attention to is the advantages are completely in the Korean favor. Coming over for 3 days, competing for a $5,000 prize pool, and then being re-invited with pay for each of these tournaments every 2 months is not the same as, congrats, now you get to come compete in Code A, we'll pay for your ticket and we'll give you a room to stay in, everything else you pay for a month. Like, being in Korea means you're not doing NASL for the most part, or at least not as well as you can. You can't do other tournaments. You can't do Europeans. You can't do... It moves you away from the community. Like, I think that's something that everyone can agree with, and I think that's problematic. And there's people who won't take it. If IdrA wins the next tournament, does he go and compete? Or let's say he takes second in the next MLG. Greg, would you go do Code A for a month?
No, there's no way I'm going. Even if I got the Code S spot, I wouldn't go.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the questions that I actually initially had as well once I learned about it. Jeff, would you go if it Was Code A
I don't think so. I don't think I would.
I think there's a significant chance they're going to have to go pretty deep to actually get 3 players who will go.
That's what I was thinking as well. Tyler, I know you said you would stay here in the States, right?
Yeah, was he going to leave his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Code A, not a chance. Code S, there are some situations where I could see myself going, but it's not something I'm jumping all over hoping to do. I do have a question, though, that I haven't found this out anywhere. Do the Korean players get seeded points if they get top 16? Are they seeded back into the next? I mean, if they get top 16 in the ranking. Yeah.
I would imagine so. They kind of have to.
Yeah, I actually don't have an answer for that. Maybe.
And are the groups still 4 people? Do they bump someone out, or how's
no? I'm assuming they're adding it on. I can't imagine they would bump someone.
They are adding it on. I think some of that info is out. I think the format change was actually announced earlier this week.
Yeah.
So
that takes like a group of scientists to figure out, though. Like
it does.
They announced it, and I was like, okay, I'll wait for pop-up to tell me what happens.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true, because I don't even know the entirety of it, and I probably should, but...
I think the Korean side of it, like what Koreans are going to have to do in the long run to earn these spots is a little shady. We don't even know how these 4 guys got invited, as far as I know, how they earned these invites.
Yeah.
Well, they're going off of the GSL points, and that's how they're being seeded into the groups.
It doesn't make much sense, though, because MMA isn't even Code S. Lucira got top 8. Bomber just qualified for Code S for the first time. And Moon is not even in Code A. So I can't imagine it being GSL based. They're all in vastly different places within the tournament.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And then if they do get rank points from MLG, then it's like I assume that this is how I would want it to be.
It is confirmed they do get rank points.
I would think that each player should only get 1 invite. Like these 4 guys that got invited to Columbus, either they can earn another seeded spot through getting top 16 and pay their own way from then on out, or they don't earn it and someone else gets invited next time. But those kinds of deals or those details are a little bit shady at this point.
Do you see how it complicates the process, though? Like it's interjecting an invite into a qualification bracket, and I think that's really weird. Because we've all been over this. The championship bracket is hugely rewarding. Like, so much so that some people have a problem with that.
Actually.
And I can understand that. I can understand people having a problem with how rewarding it is. But it makes it much worse when you invite someone into that system. Like, they're never going to get out of it. Bomber's never going to go 0-4, you guys. Like, he's going to win 2 or 3 games every time. So he's going to be here forever. Like, that's just the end of it. And he was invited into that. So I think that's kind of weird.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking is these 4 guys, like 99% chance they're all going to get top 16. So they're going to be seeded for the next MLG event. And then are we going to get 4 more invited Koreans? So now we have 8 Koreans in pool play. And it's just going to keep, like, going on.
Will the original 4 still have their plane tickets paid and stuff? Because we don't. Even as top 16 players, we still have to pay our way and stuff.
I imagine
Will the Koreans then?
I would hope not.
Because I'd imagine they wouldn't come back then. Most of the Korean teams don't have that much sponsorship yet in terms of money to send players around.
And actually,
what do you think what do you think the actual incentive is for GSL as an organization to go ahead with this? Because, even what we saw with TSL is that Koreans, for the most part, what they're really interested in is Korean players. If they see Koreans playing foreigners, then they'll watch, whether that's a stream at 4 a.m. or if it's a VOD later. So that's a huge opportunity for MLG if they can convert those Korean numbers into viewers on MLG streams or MLG VODs, right? Like some of the GSL VODs have 700,000 views on them. But I have to imagine that most of the people in Europe and North America who would watch MLG are probably watching GSL already, right? I mean, there's probably a small portion of Halo players who would get interested and then maybe convert.
They're losing out on foreigners. They're down to just Huck. So if they can inject another 2 or 3, it's going to... Because there's non-Koreans who don't watch because there's no non-Koreans in there. Granted, it's not near the same ratio. Not nearly the same.
Okay.
I think it favors Koreans heavily to have Koreans involved in this program because more Koreans will watch. But, I mean, your point's absolutely valid in my opinion. I think that
GSL is getting a lot of pressure from Korean players who want to go to international tournaments. So there's that, too.
Oh, okay.
It's true. It's true. IdrA, what do you think about the whole thing?
I agree with the points Jeff made. the principle itself is okay. I think they shouldn't get a spot in the top 16 for free, or in the championship bracket for free. But it's ridiculously one-sided. They get to come play a 3-day tournament for $5,000, and in return, we get the opportunity to go play a 1-month tournament for $1,500, and that essentially excludes us from all these other foreign tournaments. And you have to go live there for a month, and all that. It's not very rewarding. There's a lot more benefits for the Korean players than for the foreign players here.
Right. I have gotten clarification, Jeff. I think this is also Tyler's point. The players that are paid for GSL to come over are changing each event. They do keep their rank points, so if their teams want to send them on their own money, then they come with their rank points.
Is there 4 more new invites then?
I
imagine
assume so, yes.
So it'll be 8 Koreans in Anaheim.
If the 4
if they send all 4.
Yeah, if the 4 original come.
Let's say they send 2. Then it's 6 Koreans of the, what, 20?
Well, are you going by Code S top 32, or?
No. I mean the championship bracket. Right now it used to be 16.
Oh, okay.
4 groups of 4. Now they're adding 1 person, so it's going to be 4 groups of 5, correct?
True.
And you add 4 more from the open bracket, so you end up with 24 people into the actual bracket. Assuming they just do straight addition.
Something to think about.
I don't know. I'm just... Of course, there's the chat that's saying the typical response. I'm really concerned because this is hurting my chances at winning an MLG, which...
Well, that's
I can assure people that's really not... Well...
I mean, it is in some sense in the fact that you obviously want to win. If there's more competition here, you're going to... You're not going to be offended by it, but...
No. If I could beat Naniwa and then Select and then MC, I would. I don't want to win a free MLG. I want to beat the best people in the world. It's really not about that at all.
I'm actually talking to... Someone's relaying a lot of information to me from MLG. The thing is that we're only ever going to add 4 to the championship pool. So if someone comes in with rank points, they don't automatically get into the top 16. They're just seeded into the random bracket with rank points. Because the top 16 is always going to be whoever has the most rank points at MLG.
Well, presumably you're going to have at least 3 of them in the top 8 if they go. I'd imagine that would be enough to get them in.
I'd have to look at the actual numbers to...
But there's a pretty good chance we'll have at least 2, probably 3 Koreans into the top 16 seeds, if not all 4 of them. I mean...
Yeah, there's a good chance for sure. It'll be funny for me at least if the top 4 are the Koreans, then everyone else.
That won't happen.
Then they get 4 through 16. But Kennigit, have you kind of voiced your thoughts yet, or fleshed out your thoughts as much as you want to?
I don't really think of things, and like when these guys started bringing up these points, it hadn't even crossed my mind because that's, I guess, not my frame of reference. I thought about it more this morning, and it was mainly just about how. Like it's a really, really big opportunity for MLG,
right?
To turn those kinds of viewers from GSL into potential MLG viewers, right? And especially with their plans to globalize and expand into other countries. So, yeah, for MLG it seems huge, but I still don't see the huge benefit for GOM as far as their brand and increasing their. I mean, they already have the biggest league in the world, right? So. I don't see like the balance in the relationship. Maybe I'm missing something, but I know Hotbit's doing an interview with Lee.
Well, I think they come out ahead in this, to be honest.
Really?
Well, the Korean players do. For GSL
players.
itself.
I just mean the organization itself.
Yeah.
Well, they have to appease their players though, otherwise they're going to lose out on players. Like they've already upset IM. We'll talk about that in a little while, but they when IdrA was in Korea, he missed out on tournaments because he had to do GSL stuff. Right. That's not just IdrA. There's look at Ace. He's traveled to 3 non-Korean tournaments and won them all. Like Koreans know that there's a lot of money to be had outside of GSL. Where, yeah, there's a big prize pool, but it's very, it's a lot harder to win a GSL than to travel to Australia. Right. Beat out Filthy for $5,000.
But GOM TV doesn't see any of that money.
But they don't want to lose their players.
What I'm saying.
Yeah. If Nesty
are their players going to move out of Korea and stop playing GSL, or?
Well, if Nesty goes around and just plays all these foreign tournaments, that's still a ton of money, given he has a much higher percentage to win. And if GSL loses him, that's a lot of value they lose.
The other side, though,
and they don't really trade that much here, just to keep Koreans happy.
Koreans. Let's say there's 7 Koreans in South Korea that watched MLG before. You ship 4 Koreans over to MLG, 7,000. which is still not a lot, but that's obviously a hell of a lot more than we used to have.
Sure.
It grows on that.
Okay.
So they come out way heavily. Like GSL right now, non-Koreans, tons of non-Koreans watch it. You send 2 more non-Koreans, maybe some more watch it because there's non-Koreans, but non-Koreans watch because of the Koreans. It doesn't work out the other way around.
So I think one thing that you might not be factoring into the whole thing is that IMG is a huge, huge organization, and since we are now tied with them at MLG, GSL might be wanting a piece of that somehow, because they are, I think, the biggest sports publication or sports press in the world, or something like that. So they might be wanting a part of that as well. And I think maybe that's the main thing that they might be getting at, but I guess we'll just have to see kind of as this program develops as we move forward. I do want to say that is not all the announcements. ING, not IMG, sorry.
Like the bank?
No.
It's that company that ran Wimbledon and stuff. That's what MLG partnered with a long time ago. But
Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone kind of didn't think that was a big deal when it was actually like really, really a big deal. But the MLG's not done with the announcements yet. We probably will have some more stuff here coming very soon, so look forward to that. Pulling a Jeff. You've taught me well, Jeff. Thank you.
everyone always says that, but
Hey man, I got like 300
it fucking
tweets saying
works,
that.
man.
Yeah, it works, man. That's
You hype something, it brings attention. I'm sorry.
I know it does. It does. Let's talk about who has read The Elephant in the Room. I know Kennigit, you've read it.
No,
Tyler
haven't read it.
I skimmed it.
How can you not read the article, Kennigit? Are you
I read
trolling
it. I read it.
All right. Tyler, you've read it.
That's
Greg?
a lie.
He's probably lying to me right now. Greg, you said you skimmed it.
Yeah, I saw Artosis making fun of it on Twitter. It was like, I should
What
read
did
this.
he actually say about it, by the way? I meant to look at that tweet.
He just disagreed with it. Said it was biased use of statistics or something to support irrelevant points or incorrect
okay.
points, stuff like that.
Jeff, did you read it?
Yes, I did.
So I just want to get everyone's thoughts here. Personally, I don't understand why everyone went apeshit over that article. I think it was an opinion. It had some valid points in it, and sure, if Flash comes over to StarCraft 2, he's going to be one of the top players. No one's going to argue that. But if you look at the first page of that in the comments, everyone's like, "Yeah, cool article, I agree." You go to page 160 or something, and it's basically like the biggest shit fest I've ever seen on Team Liquid, where people are just arguing about the most nonsensical things I've ever read. And I really didn't understand why everyone was going crazy about that article. But maybe that's just me. So Jeff, go ahead and start this off.
There's a couple ways to approach this. I'll do it in the tiers. So there's one, the current state of StarCraft 2 / the community and kind of where it's going. And then 2, the actual content at hand. 1, StarCraft 2's expanded and grown and consumed so many different communities that there's so many new people all the time involved that no longer is perspective in the full scale of StarCraft Brood War, StarCraft 2 being taken into account. It's more like that's what I think, posting it now because I need to get my opinion out there. So it's really hard when an opinion piece like this is written based upon something that spans like over a decade. You have people who, they were playing WoW before. They were playing Halo. Who knows? They don't know StarCraft. And they're like, they just post off the cuff from that. So there's a lot, I mean, that's obviously a generalization, but there's a lot more new people involved. Like, go through the post counts of that entire thread. There's a lot of sub 100 people, but of course they've been lurking for 12 years. And they don't have an identity. They don't have baggage behind them. So the only way their opinion gets remarked to or like propagated or creates a conversation is if they say something radical, and that happens over and over again. So you look at that thread. There's nobody's like, I mean, there's very few people who are like, this is a well-written article. I think it's a good opinion. I'll have to think more on this. It's more like, this is effing outrageous. You must be the or there's people who are like, I literally see this. This is on the front page of Team Liquid, a website that has StarCraft on it. It's unprofessional. It is detrimental to the furthering of esports. The metagame is outrageous, and it's like all this stuff. So there's just that you have to take for a grain of salt. And then the second part's the content. It starts off with a fairly polarizing line, which is a narrative like device. People do that so that people get involved. But the 12-year-olds don't know that, right? Like when you start off by saying StarCraft 2 competition is a farce, that's the line people are responding to.
That's true.
85% of the time. They didn't read the article. They got that far into the thing, and then they're like, okay, all right, Mom, put the Hot Pocket back in the oven. This is going to take like 10 minutes.
Hot Pockets are good, by the way. You should go buy some.
Yeah.
I like MLG, too.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper is good as well.
I thought the article was great. It was a good opinion. It created good conjecture for me. I bristled up at the fact that it was a little bit too final in its wording. Like, he's like, don't worry, at the end I say that things are going to be okay. It's like this big of a paragraph. The rest of it is why everything's bad. So that was a little bit silly. And also, I think it's funny that people think Flash plus StarCraft 2 equals game solved. Jelizerg was a Golden Mouse winner, man.
Yeah.
Like, he is not. I mean, he didn't end his Brood War career at the top of his abilities, but he's not an MC. He did not have a failed career in Brood War. He did exceedingly well. Greg talked about, well, I don't know if we talked about this on air, but Effort played for a little while. He didn't solve the game the second he stepped down. Do I think Flash will be amazing? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If / when he comes over, but it's not going to be like in 2 weeks' time he solves the game. I don't think. So I don't know. I obviously skewed a lot of my analysis of the first part, but I don't want to take up all the time.
Tyler, what were your thoughts? IdrA, you'll talk in a second.
Well, first of all, something people should remember, and I hope I'm representing the article correctly here, is it was Intrigue, that's the author, Intrigue saying just why he's having a problem enjoying watching competitive StarCraft 2. I don't think he's really saying, like, this is the truth and nobody should be enjoying StarCraft 2. It's just saying, you know, from his perspective as a longtime StarCraft 1 fan, this is what's tripping him up and makes it hard for him to enjoy it. And people want to take it so much farther than that, and that's not really fair. But I pretty much agree with them. I think it comes down to the different environments of practice from StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. And, you know, I haven't seen the insides of all the Korean teams, their pro houses, but from what I could gather, it's not really comparable to StarCraft 1. And Intrigue had a little quote about a story of one guy saying the Startail house is a joke, you know, very lax and nothing like a StarCraft 1 pro house. But I think it's pretty much true. Like, you know, you can't look at just July or just Nada and say, you know, these guys were talented in StarCraft 1, they're trying at StarCraft 2, and, you know, kind of go off that line of thinking. I kind of throw that out because it's about putting in 110% effort, like trying harder at being the best of the game than you ever have before, and I don't think we'll get that from Nada and July at this point in their careers. And it's also about the environment of being in a pro house where you have a coach making you do that, and you have 20 other guys living with you that are also having to do that. And once that's going for about 6 months to a year, then you really start to see it pay off. And yeah, I don't think that's really happened with StarCraft 2. The guys that have come over from StarCraft 1 were not guys that really thrived under this system in StarCraft 1 that made people just incredible pro gamers. So I don't really see that StarCraft 2 system so far. And on a personal note, for the article, it was actually a little inspiring for me because, you know, for me as a pro gamer, I think the point of being a pro gamer, if you're trying to entertain people by playing the game, is to satisfy a guy like Intrigue. I love that there's fans out there like Intrigue who's like, I want to see the best of the best, I want to be in awe, I want to hold them to the highest standard and see that happen. So for me, I'm like, well shit, like I know what it's like to be a StarCraft 1 pro gamer, and I haven't even come close to that in my StarCraft 2 training. And the way I'm training now, I could never achieve what Intrigue is looking for from the competitive scene. So for me, it's just inspiring. I'm like, I need to get my shit together. I should start practicing 10 hours a day and, do what needs to be done.
I think one of the things too, though, that's not being considered, because I agree with everything you're saying, is that StarCraft 2 is in a different atmosphere. Like KESPA was what was driving these pro gamer houses to near slave status, packing 20 young 14-year-old guys into a house with terrible living conditions and having them play it 12 hours a day was not ideal for anyone involved, including those players. But it was forced on them, so it created good players. Now in StarCraft 2, KESPA's gone, for the most part. Obviously, it's secluded to Brood War. So these kids are like the recourse of that. They're doing the opposite. They're playing the game casually, more relaxed, and enjoying some success because everyone else is doing that. But that's the Eastern model. That's what worked for them. In the Western model, for non-Koreans, I'm seeing it being taken more serious than almost Brood War ever was. We have bigger leagues taking shape. We have more corporate interests. We have people who are literally like moving into houses at a higher rate than ever before. So I think in this young game where the Eastern scene is not, they're dealing with like their teenage rebellion phase after being like completely hammered down by the overbearing parent that was KESPA. The Western society is moving more towards the model of what KESPA kind of was. Of course, we'll never be at that state, but I'll tell you, EG's talking about a house. We see what Dario did with the Swedes in Sweden, and there's only going to be more of that. I guarantee it. So I think in the sub 1 year first, like the explosion of StarCraft 2 that we're experiencing, we're moving in the right direction. So that's why when an editorial comes out that says, I don't see the KESPA slave trade going on, and it really upsets me. You know, like, I need to see more of that. I think it needs to be tempered with, hey, here's why that happened that way, and here's the hopefulness of the future moving towards that. Because, I mean, I agree with you. It's disappointing how lackadaisical the Koreans are. It doesn't make sense. They have so much money at their fingertips. It's more than Brood War ever was, the prize pools.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before that happens, in my opinion.
Right. IdrA?
To some extent, I think you're overestimating how lax it is. Like, they aren't practicing 12 hours a day. It's not forced, at least as far as I know. But it's not. They're not blowing it off. They're still practicing more than any foreigners. The one problem I really had with the article was his representation of the players who are, well, doing well. First, he talks about Fruit Dealer, Nesty, and MC, and he tries to make the point that they sucked at StarCraft 1. But really, Fruit Dealer, he left pro gaming because he fucking hated the practice system. He did not want to play that much, and he was stuck on a really bad team, IdrA, and he was by far their ace. He was a really talented player. Everyone agreed on that, and he left of his own volition because he just wanted out of that system. And Nesty was a guy who was forced to play team games and become a coach after like 11-year career, and he still made it into OSL a couple of times and had relatively good results as a 2-vs-2 player. He had outside things crippling his career too. And MC, yeah, he was 1-9, but that's because he was so promising that NBC was putting him into pro games before he was really ready for it, and he was still showing pretty good play. He was like the only pro DOS to beat Effort for a year. He had plenty of talent too. So really, these guys weren't bad. They came from unique circumstances that were kind of holding them back, or they just hadn't shown their potential yet. Then they come over to StarCraft 2 and they start kicking ass. That's not because the game's so much easier. It's because they were pretty talented players, and this is their chance to shine. And then he goes through and lists all these other players like Tester, Bomber, Sango, The Wind, Supernova. And really, it's kind of counterproductive because The Wind just fell out of Code S. Sango took forever to get into Code S. Bomber just got into Code S too. Tester hasn't really been winning that much lately. Supernova just got into Code S. I mean, all of these guys, they were StarCraft 1 pro gamers, and they're playing it, and they are not dominating. Generally, you do see StarCraft 1 players on the top level, but that's because every RTS player in Korea was a StarCraft 1 player.
Yeah.
Success in StarCraft 1
well,
doesn't
there was like
directly
7
predict.
people that played Warcraft 3, though, Greg.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
and they're all doing pretty terribly, actually. But no, success in StarCraft 1 doesn't directly predict success in StarCraft 2. You have the basics, you will be at least reasonably good, but until someone like Flash or J-Dunk switches over, there's no guarantee they're going to dominate at all, and there's no reason to assume that they would. He's kind of undercutting the scene without any real reason, and he's skewing statistics to do it, which is really douchebaggy.
I gotta say, IdrA, you're getting the big show. You just dropped some bombs on us. Kennigit, what are your thoughts on the article?
I wanted to go back to Jeff's original point about how people perceive things in the StarCraft community, and this has actually been the biggest, I guess, challenge for me personally, and certainly on staff, is in 2008 whenever anything slightly controversial happened, we relied on the fact that everybody who was going to read it had the background to know where we were coming from, or where someone making a decision was coming from, or someone's opinion. I'll use Greg as an example. Like, if Greg got a temp ban in 2008, everyone would have been like, "LOL, see you in 2 days," and that would have been it, right? And the same with iNcotroL making, an outlandish statement, and suddenly it goes to #1 on Reddit, and there's 555. This is stuff that we've all kind of
Jeff,
had.
stop that.
Damn it.
We've all had to kind of adjust to. And so the problem we're having now is all these new people that have come in don't have that background. And there's no way you can explain, the past 6 or 7 years of, this is where this guy started, and these were projects he was involved with. And, this is what he did in the past, and this is where his opinion comes from. People want to cut these opinions down into very cookie-cutter, very simple molds, like, oh, Brood War elitist, you hate esports. These stupid opinions that are really easy to make and don't really add a lot to conversation. Intrigue's post wasn't that controversial as far as the point he was making, which was, these guys in Brood War, the top guys had incredible work ethic, and you don't see that in StarCraft 2. So what would happen if these guys moved over? Like, some of his language and the way he phrased things was controversial, but I don't think it was that big of a deal, to be honest. And it's unfortunate that it got so derailed and became so heated so quickly.
Yeah,
and
very.
That's a trend we're seeing a lot recently.
Yeah. I guess people are just passionate about the sport. They want to see it succeed. But I think I speak for everyone in the community when players from StarCraft 1 start transitioning over because their contracts come up here at the end of the year. It's going to be a pretty fun time, especially over in Korea, where we'll see a lot of those probably move on to the GSL, hopefully move on to the GSL. While we're on the topic of TL, and I have no idea what I'm going to throw to in here, but Greg, you were banned from Team Liquid for 90 days. Kennigit, you're part of Team Liquid.
No, I'm not.
What is your actual title at Team Liquid? Because I don't know.
We don't really use titles as far as, like, official things.
Okay, are you top 5 on the company? Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Do you hate IdrA?
No, I actually really like Greg.
IdrA, do you hate Kennigit?
No, I don't know.
Oh, well, I guess that's all I got to say.
Ta-da!
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous how many people. I think the real argument would probably be if I had Chill on the show. He could probably.
I don't think Chill hates IdrA.
Yeah, I don't
either.
think actually Chill's pretty chill
And I don't
to
think
be
IdrA
ridiculous.
hates Chill either. I think what happens is people forget that
Manifesto.
as far as
Yeah, Manifesto.
Oh yeah, let's get Manifesto then.
He was not involved with this at all. So.
people don't realize the relationships that guys who've been around for a while have, and they don't appreciate the fact that 3 years ago everybody knew each other, right? I recognize every single poster on Team Liquid, and that's not the case anymore. So you've got this group, this there's sort of a gray line where you cut it off. But these guys who were back then and understand, like, if you saw like the videos that Noni's Arbiter video from Brood War when he was
Arbiter.
when he was drinking Red Bull or whatever.
No, it was not Red Bull.
A lot of people don't have, yeah, it wasn't Red Bull.
Eyes were red, but he was not drinking Red Bull.
Like,
Well played,
people don't
Kennigit.
remember round 87, things like this that a lot of us do. So when we approach these situations, it's not like, I hate this guy or we have to be bold and aggressive. It's just like, fuck, again, I have to deal with this shit. And, because things are becoming a lot more serious, we don't really have time to deal with those kinds of situations if we don't have to. Right? Like, we're trying to run Star Leagues, we're trying to run a community, we're trying to adapt to the fact that we've grown 10 times bigger, and it takes a lot of work to, figure that stuff out and to do it right. Because we're in a position where if we make a mistake, it's a big fucking mistake, right? So if I don't have to spend 3 or 4 hours figuring out what we're going to do about, IdrA made this controversial post, well, in 2008 we probably would have let it go. But now we've got 50,000 new posters who see that, and when we ban them for making the same mistake, or the same comment rather, they don't understand. And so if we never have to deal with that situation, we're golden, right? And I understand that Greg gets, he's very black and white, I guess, is the nicest way to put it with regards to his comments, and that he only has to think about the comments he's making. There's so much shit I want to say and post all the time that I have to delete. I delete like probably a third of my posts before I make them, because then I have to sit down and go, what are the ramifications of this? So for us, it was, for me, it wasn't a difficult decision at all. It was just like, well, we have to ban him for 90 days because of the chill thing, not because I was like really mad or upset. I thought it was kind of funny, and Chill sent me some of the PMs he got, and we laughed. It's like, when you're in a position where you're setting an example for people, or you're on you have a voice box, you don't have to respect our conditions of what's acceptable on the forum, but if you want to do it on Twitter or you want to do it on your stream or whatever, we don't care. We don't touch people's stuff like that. But when we're trying to set an example for new people who don't understand our system to begin with, it makes it really difficult for us. So
I think the gun run in the chat, obviously people know who gun run is. He said you should make it so you don't mod anyone or anything on Team Liquid for a week and just show people what that looks like.
Yeah, we've actually been toying with the idea of having a forum with no moderation, and then we decided it was a horrendous idea.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best.
Like, Something Awful has one, and I guess a few other big forums do, but I don't know, I think people already have a difficult enough time judging. Like, there was a gray line in a few years ago of what was acceptable, and because the community is so much bigger, we don't catch every post that's below that line. So suddenly, instead of being this big, now the gray line is this big, and it hurts our ability to be consistent with how we deal with shitty posts or shitty posters.
Right. Jeff or Tyler, do you guys have any thoughts on this? There's really not too much to talk about on this topic, so.
No, just some Team Liquid moderators are douchebags.
Tyler,
I got warned for saying STFU please in the Muslims thread again. I don't like it. I'm going to tweet about it later.
He will tweet about it.
Yeah.
Tell everyone to PM that moderator, actually, and then, anyways. Tyler.
I'm actually so impressed that Joe didn't ban everyone who PM'd him. He did nothing. It's not what I would have done, so.
Well, you can't ban for
I would do what he actually did, is post them all, because they're all probably fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I know, that was
they're all
much better.
If you actually want to read what people sent, Chill, you can go to, they're in the Ponytails, is that where they're at?
Yeah, Ponytail is number 4.
Yeah, go read them, they're actually pretty hilarious. Tyler, you got any thoughts on this, or should we just move on?
I don't know, Greg, man. I love that you say what's on your mind. I absolutely love it. And you and I have both pushed our privileges on Team Liquid quite a bit. You a lot more than me.
Well, when you go all out, though.
Yeah, that's true. But like, come on. If you want to say something, you can tweet it. You can say it on your stream. Just join me in an effort to respect some etiquette on Team Liquid once these 90 days are over.
No, it already comes down to the fact that I don't care if I can post on there or not. The community's gone to shit, and it's just not worth having a discussion on there. So if I see something that makes me want to respond in some way, I do. And they won't permaban me because it costs them almost as much as it would cost me. And being temp banned doesn't cost me anything at all if I don't care about being on the site. So I'm just not going to let it affect me at all.
Kennigit agrees, so.
No, that's the thing. It's like, Tasteless doesn't post on Team Liquid anymore, and he hasn't for the last probably 8 months.
Hold on. Hold on. Continue on. Sorry, I had to drop a bomb for IdrA. You guys can't hear it, but the chat enjoys it.
Okay, so no, and that's because he's in a position where he can't make controversial statements, right, with his job. But I get, obviously EG doesn't care what IdrA says, right, because there's a huge benefit to Greg being outrageous and making comments like that. But for us, it's just, or for me even, it's just like, if you want to respect the system and host the way we see fit, then cool, and if not, then don't post. And if Greg says he won't post, then it's really a non-issue.
Sounds good, man. Let's move on.
Make out at Columbus, Greg, and then we'll show everyone that EG and TL don't hate each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually pushing to have the relay made into a full contact sport.
But we're going to have
I would love
Scoots
to
play
snap
instead of
some
you, right,
nerds
Jeff?
between my fingers. What's that?
I was going to say, Scoots is going to take your role, and you're just going to sit on the sidelines, right? Because he's actually the real badass.
I'm actually an amazing sprinter.
I think EG and TL should form a team to go against Six Jacks.
There you go.
To go against Six Jacks.
Why, is Six Jacks actually good or something?
No, that article, man. I'm calling out that article. You didn't hear about that?
What article? No, I don't think
No,
so.
they apologized for it.
The
so
PR one?
We just let it go.
Well, sure.
Silly article.
It's an
I think
apology,
I don't know what you're
but
talking about.
you still have to do the relay race, though. That's the shit that matters.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the actual fucking game. Patch notes hit on Tuesday. You guys, we've got 2 Protoss here. Obviously, Greg playing Zorg as well. How has this changed the game, Jeff? Where do you see Protoss now, especially in the Protoss versus Protoss matchup? You played against TT1 the other night in NASL, and in one of those games, didn't you just 4-gate on Typhon?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is the matchup really is changed as much as everyone thought it was going to be?
Those 2 games were 2 of the 8 games I've played this week because I've been on the road.
So I guess just brief thoughts then, or theory crafting, I guess.
In the games I've played, it's been pretty underwhelming. I don't notice a change almost at all. Like, the 4-gate is just slightly worse, so you won't see it as much, which I think is good. The Archon is pretty underwhelming. I was like, yeah, it's going to be awesome in these matchups. No. It's
Artosis
really
has been
not.
using a lot on a stream.
Oh, has he? He's been winning, too.
I don't like that. Yeah. He's been trying to figure out where to... I think the first day he was just going like Zealot Archon and just trying shit that wasn't working out for him.
Yeah. Story of his life.
Yeah, that is true. Poor Dan.
It's underwhelming. None of the changes. Like, I am happy about the Thor. The Thor build is still rare, so I don't face it that much, but it's nice to have another option as opposed to, like, I just had to make 2 Immortals for every Thor he had. I don't know. I'm pretty underwhelmed. I don't know. I don't notice any differences, really.
Tyler, what about you? Have you played a lot on the new patch?
Not every matchup. I mainly haven't got to play a lot of PvP yet, which I think is the most interesting one. Because the 4-gate change and the Archon change, I think, were primarily for PvP.
Mm-hmm.
But for the other matchups, I don't think the warp gate research has really made a huge difference. And likewise, the Archons, not a huge difference either. I mean, builds where that are gonna involve Archons are gonna work a little bit better, but I don't really see people going for Archons more. And that's actually in Blizzard's, that's their intent. They still don't want an Archon to be a unit you go for. It's a unit for after getting High Templar. And I think it's still in that role. But PvP might be the exception to that, because Storm is terrible for PvP. And if you are going to go Archons to smash force fields and try to not go so heavy Colossus, then you would just go for Archons. And I haven't gotten to mess around with that a lot. I think it might be pretty good, though. So I'm interested to see how it works out, but I just haven't tried it. And same with 4-gate builds in PvP. Not a lot of experience there yet.
So maybe something to revisit next week or the week after. I mean, we're not really going to see huge changes in the game 4 days after the patch is out, right? There's no chance whatsoever. Greg, you've been traveling as much as everyone else here, or haven't probably been playing as much, correct?
Yeah, I just got back last night. I played a few games. A couple of Protoss I talked to said 4-gate's actually aggressive 4-gate is significantly worse PvC, but it wasn't that It was already falling out of style. It wasn't getting used that much anyway. I imagine the Ghost change should be pretty big TvZ. Like, people should have been using Ghosts to begin with, and now there's 50 gas cheaper, and gas is the limiting resource at that point in TvZ. So that should pick up. Otherwise, it's not big. I've used Infestor some. The speed change isn't very big at all. It's hardly noticeable.
Well, we might touch on that in the next week, or maybe a week after that. Give the patch some time to actually be played on. But I do want to talk about the GSL finals. Those are going to be going on 5 hours from now, I think is when they're going live. We've got SC, who, of course, lost to Nesty. So we've got Nesty against, I'm forgetting the Protoss' name, Inca. Wow, that was terrible. So Nesty, Inca, huge match. I think everyone probably believes Nesty's going to win it. What do you guys think? Give me your predictions. Jeff, go ahead and start it off.
I want to believe that Nesty wins. I like his series against SC.
Oh, what about that game 5, man?
Well, one of the best games ever. Just
Yeah.
awesome. And
Can't
Nesty is a
talk about it
past champion. He's a likable guy, very good player. I think the best Zerg on the planet. Inca is a PvP sniper,
now. he really is.
and that's how we got here.
IdrA, you think Nesty can take it?
I hope
mean,
so.
You've been kind of critical of him in the past, almost, in a lot of your.
That was a long ass time ago. I've said he's really good since then.
Okay.
Fish.
I
No.
don't know. I really hope he wins. He's like 50 times more talented than Inca. If Inca wins, it's going to be purely off Protoss bullshit. Nesty ought to win like 4-2.
Tyler?
I think Inca might take it, but it's dependent on if he can actually get like a solid mid to late game PvZ going, which it's possible. I mean, he hasn't shown it yet, but he can't win the whole series off of 1 base and 2 base timings. So I think
You'd be surprised.
I just want good games.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen a real GSL final yet in all the finals. Maybe the Nesty, was it Nesty MVP that was really close?
No, Marine King.
Yeah.
I mostly
I meant
blame the
memory.
Protoss players, but when they go to the drawing board and are like, okay, I need to win, what do I do? Timing attack game 1, fake 4-gate game 2, game 3, 6-gate 1 Robo Colossus timing. That's what I'll do. And I'll bring my probes. I'll change it up. Like that's usually what they go to the boards and come with, unfortunately.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, Inca he's on OGS, right? I'm not imagining things, so
Yeah, he is.
maybe MC is going to give him some tips on how to to 2 base or 1 base in the finals. Kennigit, you got some predictions, man?
Yeah, but they're completely uneducated. So.
It's all right, man. I'm giving mine too. Just go ahead.
Oh, thanks, JP.
Wait, that was actually should know
I
myself, not you. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Anyways, continue on.
I think 4-2 Nesty.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think that's a pretty popular opinion right now.
Yeah, that
and
seems
I haven't
like
watched enough GSL to think any different from that.
Yeah. I guess I'm going to say 4-1 Nesty just to be a little bit different. But I just hope the games are enjoyable. I hope that it's not a walkover. I hope that it's not the same game every time. I hope that there's something exciting actually happening, and it's not just Dan and Nick trying to hype the shit out of a match that's boring as hell. Because that's pretty much all it's been in recent GSL finals. So tune into that, gomtv.net. I'm sure you guys will tune in without me having to tell you so. Hey, Kennigit, I heard you guys have a finals this weekend for the TSL3.
Yes.
Tell me more about that, man.
So the 3rd, 4th place match is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern between Kos and Hasuabs, and that's going to determine who gets seeded into TSL number 4, into the top 32, I guess, assuming we keep it at that. And yeah, I mean, most of our promotion has been for Sunday, since that's the main event, and we have Naniwa and Thorazane in New York. So, I mean, I've been off and on with Hopid talking about what we're going to do for it, and I think it's going to be a cool show, man. A lot of people are really excited for it, and they both have such great stories behind them that, I mean, even though we never would have predicted that would be our finals, we expected either 2 Koreans or like Tyler and a Korean or Greg and a Korean. But I mean, it's developed really nicely, and one of the things that's always cool with TSL is that because the matches are spread out and because you can focus your attention on, you know, a specific set of games, we see these guys who you wouldn't expect rise to the top. So like in TSL2 it was Braddock, Draven became a huge, big hero for people, and even if they don't advance or win, that's really cool, and that's what happened, obviously, with Thorzane and Naniwa off of his win from MLG. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. I'm looking forward, to being done with PSL because it's an incredible amount of work and stress.
What is your role in the actual PSL, so people know kind of what you do there?
I do all the graphic stuff except for the portraits.
Cool.
So Glider does the portraits, and then I do video and the website and figure out like our color palette and stuff like that at the beginning and the logo and that. We kind of work together back and forth to figure out what looks good. In the past, we've usually had huge teams of up to 10 guys. But what we figured out was that, because for the most part, PL is a volunteer organization, and because we're not working in the same rooms together, people's schedules and work and school, it's way easier to keep it small.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more work, but we can iterate a lot faster, and we can come to an agreement a lot faster on things we want to do. So yeah.
Who's going to win? Can I get what are your predictions? Give me a score.
I think Cost takes it. I don't know the score.
Terrible.
And I actually haven't decided for the final. I think it's 50-50. And I know that sounds like a cheap answer because considering I'm involved in it, but I really.
It is actually a cheap answer.
Okay.
It doesn't just sound like it is a cheap answer.
Thorzane 4-3, and it's like a 40-minute long final game.
Would you say? Would you guys agree that Thorzane's kind of a dark horse here going up against Naniwa, or is it just an even game, an even match?
I don't know if he's a dark horse anymore, right? Like maybe a few rounds ago he was, but his performance every match where he's been the underdog is just like, so
yeah.
I don't think anyone is predicting a walkover either way. And walkover, I mean, one player walking the other. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Jeff, first off, what are your thoughts on Naniwa and Thorzane and kind of how they got to the finals? I don't know. Did we talk about the round of 4 games? Have we had a state of the game?
Yeah, we were all completely wrong. Well, I was.
Did we all say Hasselhoff and Koz? I think everyone. I almost feel like everyone picked Koz for that TBT, man.
Yeah.
Anyone who picked Thorzane was obviously lying after the fact.
I picked Thorzane.
Did you really?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Well, you're lying, because right now you're not pretty sure. You're pretty sure right
one
now.
thing that emerged
I'm pretty drunk on every state of the game. That's why I can't remember. That's why I'm only pretty sure. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Solidified his role of, I think he has nerve issues. I mean, he, torches it up to get into the finals of these huge, huge tournaments, and then just doesn't impress. I mean, Thorzane kind of beat him up a little bit.
Yeah.
But in these matches, I want to say Koz wins, 3-1. And then I think Thorzane wins, and I want to say it's 4-3, something epic. But Naniwa is widely considered the best PVT in all of Europe, and probably outside of Korea. What has me tilted against that is that Thorzane, when he has time to prepare, the guy looks unbeatable. He took his worst matchup and made it look pro in a week.
Yeah.
And then he took MC down to the wire. I mean, every single time he's played, I've seen an extremely polished and professional-looking player. He hasn't eked by any of these rounds. You know what I mean? There's never been, well, okay, but he survived that one round. No. He fucking dominated every single round and looked like he couldn't have lost if he tried.
Yeah. One of the actual remarkable stats that I had no idea actually was true, Naniwa won 35 best of whatevers, or 34 in a row or something like that,
yeah.
Only losing recently to Sase in a PvP. That just seems really unheard of. And I don't know, do you guys think that's just because he played so much PvP, or do you guys have anything to credit that to, Jeff?
It's legit. And anything beyond 10 is unheard of. I mean, not 10.
Yeah.
Let's say 20. Okay, 35. I don't care who he played. He's playing in the finals and.
I mean, those are all
these
tournaments too that he won.
Yeah.
I mean, that was MLG. That was the Gadget Show, I think. There was a Black Dragon League. They were all against really, really good players. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was a remarkable stat. Tyler, Jeff, did you give predictions? Said Kos and Thorzane, right?
Kos and Thorzane, 4-3.
All right. Tyler?
Well, I'll start with third, fourth. I mean, Kos, I think the question is he going to play his best? Because that's what I see people in the comments saying, you guys are all underestimating Kos, and people just assume, well, this guy's going to play the best StarCraft of his life every time he plays, and then they make their predictions based on the best that they've ever seen this guy play, and you can't play your best every single time. And Kos, it seems like he's had some trouble bringing out his best in the very end of a tournament. And I know for that one, I don't know what it was a LAN though, and he had like a really long day, so it might have been fatigue. But I think it was ESL maybe, but or IM, whatever, it doesn't matter. But fatigue or not, he had trouble against Thorzane. I think he really underperformed against Thorzane, and that wasn't fatigue. So I think we'll actually see Hasselhoffs take this, but if Kos takes it and he plays his best, I think it'll be a big step forward for him. As for the finals, I'm going to go ahead and say Thorzane. Number one, because it would be better if he won the whole thing after he beat me. I don't look so bad. It's like, hey, he beat MC and Naniwa, so, that's good enough company for me. No, but, like, Naniwa, talking about his 35 game win streak, too, or series win streak, he understands all 3 PV whatever matchups right now, and his mechanics are good enough to do justice to that understanding to win games. But that's got to come to an end soon, and I don't think it applies to Thorzane. I think he doesn't have like some ultimate understanding of PvT where he knows every single timing possible and every single counter possible and all that kind of stuff. I think he generally knows it pretty well, kind of metagaming his way around dominance, but it's not really going to apply to Thorzane as well. On the other hand, he has my series to look at and MC's series to look at for how Thorzane approaches TVPs. So Thorzane's really going to have to dig up some good stuff for the finals. But in the end, I think Thorzane is going to take it. It might be close. Naniwa has some pretty sick timings and builds that will take games even against the best Thorzane prep and performance. But Thorzane 4-2, 4-3, something like that.
IdrA?
I think Hasselhoffs will beat Cass. I don't think Cass is as good as a lot of people do. And even if the best shows up, Hasselhoffs GVT has actually kind of impressed me lately. And the best Cass doesn't show up every match by a long shot. So I definitely would expect Hasselhoffs to take that. I don't know about score, maybe 4-2, 4-1. In the finals, I would expect Thorzane to take it. Naniwa, I agree a lot with Tyler's kind of judgment of his success. He has solid styles figured out and good enough mechanics, and he has undoubtedly had a lot of success so far. But really, there's nothing that special when you watch him. He does not seem like he should be winning as much as he is, and that's going to fall apart at some point. And I think that Thorzane is the type of opponent who will really take advantage of that. He comes into every match really well prepared. No one expects him to do as well as he does, but you give him a week, and he really seems to come up with something that's well suited for the match. And he plays very carefully, very, very methodically. I think he will have something figured out for Naniwa. He'll execute it well, and Naniwa will try and go in and just ride what has been working for him, which is relatively solid, standard, abusive play. And it won't work against whatever Thorzane has planned for him. Thorzane will win like 4-3.
All right, and when are those matches happening? Can I give me the times real quick?
So Saturday, tomorrow, at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, and 8 Central European.
Fuck
Europe.
yeah. Fuck
Europe,
time
you know
zones,
what it
bro.
is.
Just fuck time zones.
Yeah. I've actually had to redo posters probably 9 or 10 times because there was daylight saving time changes and
now people
don't
understand why
work.
Kennigit
stands for Copenhagen Entertainment Time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So.
Yeah, it's
I happen to know that.
6 hours ahead of Eastern.
Yeah.
And Sunday?
Copenhagen.
Did you do Sunday?
And Sunday, same time. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the finals.
And,
And if you're in New York City, there's going to be an after party at somewhere in Queens. You know where it is if you live in New York. So find the thread.
And Chill and Wheat are casting Saturday? Day
No,
9?
Weed and Husky are doing Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And Chill and Day 9 are doing the finals on Sunday.
All right, so look forward to that. I'm sure everyone's going to be watching without me telling them
Dude,
to.
Yeah.
dude, shout out to those videos.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
little hype videos.
Those videos were
Where
good,
can
man.
people find them? Is that the Team Liquid YouTube channel?
Did everyone watch those? Did
Yeah.
Jeff and IdrA, did you guys
Yeah.
watch those?
I didn't see.
You should check them out. We'll give them linked in the chat or something.
They're in the TSL freeform in individual threads, or they're on the Team Liquid Net YouTube.
The four game one, I gotta say, was pretty lame. But the one with the two of them playing different games is actually pretty
It's
hilarious.
such Hotbit humor, too. That's exactly
Yeah.
what you would do.
Yeah.
If you know Hotbit, that's exactly what he would think of.
Go check those out, guys. One last thing before we do shout out to the user questions. It's a short show because it is Friday, and some of us just want to relax after a fucking ridiculous week. GSL Team League is not actually incorporating IM into it, and I think we're all just going to be pretty comprehensive on this and just be like, what the fuck? Why are they not on there? They just got probably one of the biggest sponsorships of any of the teams right now in Korea. Jeff, you mentioned that you want to talk about this earlier, so I'll just throw this to you and tell me exactly what I just said, because I know you're not. You're going to agree 100% probably. They need to be in that, man. It's ridiculous.
They should. I think, didn't they have some kind of algorithm where they figured out what team should make it in there?
It's the rank
Yeah.
points that GSL, don't they combine the rank points of each
Code
player
S
on the
and
team?
Code A.
Yeah.
Based on the number of players or something like that.
X
Yeah.
points for Code S.
And it's
X
because
for
like
Y for Code
MVP
A.
is in Code A and,
Yeah.
and things like that. That's why they're not in it.
They have like one guy in Code S and one guy in Code A. And that's
Yeah,
it.
all of their other players like Seed and Youngwon and stuff who do well in the team league, they just keep failing to qualify for GSL, the individual league.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's not invite. It's a qualification process through an algorithm that they have.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, you can't really necessarily fault GOM. Like, come up with a better algorithm that has cool factor for 10 points
There you
each time
go.
you think they're cool.
There you go.
So it's kind of tough, but just as a spectator, let's remove my hat for whatever reason of the community, and I'm just a spectator. I'm upset. IM has some of the best history in the league. They have some of the better players. They're one of the more complete teams. People can identify IM as a team and kind of see how it functions, as opposed to like there's that one guy on the team that then represents the whole team and carries the whole thing.
Yeah.
They have different players for each race that have history and success. So I think in the end, everyone is lesser for it. So I think that's a shame. But I don't think there'll be. If there's anyone out there typing that, well, this just means that I don't watch the GSTL now, then they're the actual idiot. So it could have been cooler, I guess is what I would say. So it's too bad.
And the team that's actually taken their spot is MVP, right? I want to say that's correct, which
Yeah, MVP is in.
just has a lot of people in Code A, I'm pretty sure. Did one of them get into Code S and the up and down? I
Keen
forget.
might have. Keen was always their best
No, I remember
performer,
Keen
yeah.
actually. Keen was in. He lost to someone. He was in MC's group, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's so much shit to watch. I don't actually.
Keen
wanna
and Coca.
I don't want to misquote myself. Or whatever. Tyler.
Keen, Coca, and Genius.
There you go. Tyler or Kennigit, do you guys have any thoughts on this that hasn't really already been said?
Yeah, nothing that hasn't already been said, really. It didn't really bug me that much, but I guess I'm just not as invested in the players. And I mean, it's the same system they've had for a while, right?
Yeah.
So no.
Tyler?
Not much. I mean, it's just logistics. If they could have gotten him in, it would have been better, but it's not always so easy to just do exactly what seems to be the best for everyone. It's not actually the best. It's kind of hard to please everyone, so it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
that
it's
is
impossible.
It actually is impossible. I've tried.
That is true. That is true. So shout-outs real quick, and then we'll do user questions. If you got a user question, either email it to sotgquestions@gmail.com or just post it in the justin.tv chat, which a lot of you are already in, and I'll pull questions from there. Jeff, where can people check you out?
Well, there's my Twitter. Certainly that's one of the most accessible ways to get at me. I check it every day, multiple times, so try to be pretty responsive. You can also check me out on Facebook, either my name, or there's actually an iNcotroL fan page that Anna is kind enough to run, so that's another good way to interact with me. But, just keep on trucking. Do want to thank my sponsors, all of the EG wonderful companies, namely Monster, Intel, doing fantastic things for us. I've been on the road for Intel. A lot of people have been asking what I've been doing, just kind of putting on my gray suit, if you will, and doing the real-world stuff, sitting on a panel with some of the biggest Intel executives and talking about IT and esports and all the good stuff in front of new people. So it's kind of cool, kind of forward-moving things that way. SteelSeries Kingston. Kingston's actually, you guys won't believe this, but I did some modeling for Kingston.
Wow.
What? How does
What were
that
you
happen?
wearing?
As little as possible.
Yeah. It's actually one of those kind of model shoots. But so I'm going to be doing some commercials for them and stuff, kind of cool that way. It's kind of like, when I look back at this, what has esports done for me? And these are going to be some of the kind of cool little, I got to do that kind of thing. So big shout out to Kingston. If you guys are going to Columbus MLG, please do come say hi to me. I love to meet new people. That's actually one of the biggest parts about being in the role that I am, that I get to do that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited about that. Another big shout out to One More Game TV. DJ Wheat and Sir Scoots launched a channel that's like an all-encompassing everything esports, and I know Greg and I, and actually Pain User as well, are casting with DJ Wheat the EG Masters Cup, and we're pretty excited about that. I actually get to be 2 in the next week. Someone is playing iNcotroL right now. Son of a bitch.
IdrA, is that you?
Hmm?
Are you
I'm not
clacking
doing
away
anything.
on the keyboard?
I think it was
That could be
Kennigit.
me.
It was
I'm
Kennigit.
happy, but my
Talking
microphone
about
should've-
EG, and then Kennigit starts typing.
Oh, Christ. Someone cue up the Six Jacks
See how that
article.
happened? See how that worked?
I'm just going to pull out my Red Bull.
I'm
Look,
blogging
now,
about it.
he fucking froze his webcam, so we'll never see if he's... Oh, there he goes. Okay.
Delicious Red Bull. Your favorite sponsor.
Well, I'm like tweeting this tomorrow. You're in. It's going to be a tweet. But big shout out to them. Scott has worked really hard to make this. Scott and DJ Wheat have made this really big, and it's awesome if you guys haven't seen it. Live on 3 is back. Weapon of Choice with Chill from Team Liquid, LOL, and some other shows as well. So
Check
big
out
shout
Live on 3 if you guys don't. Wednesdays, I think, is when it happens, 6 o'clock Central. Just probably one of the best shows in esports, for sure. Wheat, Slasher, Scoots, basically dropping knowledge, no fluff, whatever. Just go check it out. It's a good show. Needs more viewers watching it.
Yeah.
IdrA? Jeff, did you get it all done?
Well, just Inside the Game as well.
Yeah.
Airs on Tuesday. It's another One More Game TV show, and it's shamelessly based on kind of the educational model of a Day 9 Daily. So for people looking to pick the... Actually, every time we do any kind of questions, people just call in to ask Greg shit. So if you want to actually ask Greg
That still happens.
advice, oh
It
my
wasn't
god.
as bad last time, but yeah, the first episode was...
Are people better about calling in yet?
Oh, no,
No,
actually the
it's
questions got
always-
worse this time.
Hello? Is this on? Hello? Hi! Hi! Hello? And DJ Wheat's so patient, but Greg and I are like snickering, and I'm just shamelessly laughing over the guy. It's a good time anyway, so check it out. Tuesdays, and it airs just after the Masters Cup.
I have a question about your Intel thing. Was
Sure.
that specifically for you or for EG? Because I know Intel sponsors like a lot of esports teams. Was it just you that was at the conference, or were there other people?
It was just me and Xlav.
Oh, that's cool.
IdrA?
This is actually kind of hard because Jeff just stole.
I guess just personal stuff.
Yeah,
Get your
Yep.
FUs out to
I had
the
a dime
players
for
that
every
you
time
want to...
someone said I made them hard. That's like 20,000 dimes.
Okay. No one else laughed. That made that really awkward. It was kind of fun.
I smiled.
I just kind of shook my head and just was like, yeah,
SIRL.
that's Jeff.
Yes! I made that!
Sure, I know.
Thank you. I remember that.
Yeah.
It was one of my revolutions
This is
because
a new
nobody actually
acronym
laughs
you
out loud, but they do
Absolutely.
smile in real life.
Yeah.
Use that.
So yeah,
Searle.
Zorl. There you
Searle.
go. And also, just let it go.
Jaylig,
we have to bring that back.
JLIG.
you tried to make that work so hard, and it just
it
I
did
know.
work. It does
Never.
pop up.
It'll be all over Facebook tomorrow. You wait.
bad.
All the kids.
It's in the Urban Dictionary. It's one of my accomplishments for my life, actually. No joke. Jaylig's in there.
You guys should do a moment of history, Brood War history every week. That can be edition
That would be a
number
good
1.
show.
That would be a good thing to.
HAP uncomfortable.
Yeah, I wouldn't really know what
You
to
have to
say.
explain to JP as well, yeah.
Be like, really? Tell me more about this Brood Wars game.
This was in 2010.
People fought.
JP wasn't
There
here.
was a StarCraft 1.
Yeah.
Greg, did you do your shout-outs?
No, I did not. All the One More Game TV stuff, Jeff already mentioned it, so all those places. I'm casting Masters Cup 2. We're all on Inside the Game, which is an excellent show, more teaching-oriented than pretty much anything except the Day 9 Daily, but it also has a discussion-based aspect. So everyone ought to check that out. It's really cool. Me personally, I will start streaming, mostly with commentary.
Is it going to
now
be
that
featured
I'm-
on TL?
I don't actually know. They said I was going to be, but I wasn't when I was streaming today, so...
Yeah, he was.
That's what's up.
We took the ad off of his page so that there was no questions about whether we were doing it to make money. Like, for us, like, the streaming thing is just like the service we provide to people, and there was questions about whether it was going to be fair. So we just took the ad off, and there's no questions.
Sounds
I mean,
good.
if anything, it just benefits Greg because it just sends viewers there.
It's supposed to be featured on there.
It
People are saying...
I looked at it.
IdrA.
People are saying in the chat that it wasn't enough. That's the only reason I
Yeah,
did
those
it myself.
are the same people that think, Osama bin Laden died in 2004, that EG and TL hate each other, the trade towers went down with thermite paint. We can go on. So
Okay, so streaming, I always post on my Twitter, so you don't have to go to Team Liquid to find it. You can find it on my Twitter. It's listed on the stream thingy under my picture. What else?
Yeah, good description.
I think that's about it. I casted NASL this week, Playday tonight and tomorrow. That's the last episode, but that was a lot of fun.
How'd you enjoy
think it's-
casting, man?
Oh, it was really good. The first few days were good, and then I got to do it with Jeff, which was awesome because we were already pretty comfortable together. And then the last day with Great Torp, we had kind of felt each other out, and that got a lot better.
Can't believe no one
So, yeah,
smiled
in
at
the
all
end
with
it
all
was
the
really good.
sexual innuendos there. But
Yeah, he's rubbing off on me.
Pre-Torp cannot go a sentence without saying something that. In the cast today, this is a spoiler. He says this, by the way. Everyone cover your ears.
I
He
got
goes,
spoiled.
he's just ravaging his opponent right now. We're all like, God damn it, Pre-Torp.
he's actually quickly becoming my favorite caster because I
He
feel
is
like he's got this huge big ball of knowledge back here, but there's a tiny hole with his vocabulary where he expresses these ideas. So he's trying to cram them out, and it's just the wrong words are coming out, but you understand what he meant. So it's cute and it's fun. So
The last day of me and Great Torp was really awesome. Everyone ought to watch that tomorrow. And me and Jeff was good. That's going on right now, so everyone go watch as soon as State of the Game's done. I think that's about it. The streaming's the only real personal thing. Everything else is all through onemmoregame.tv, which Jeff already covered. Of course, thanks to EG and all of our sponsors, which Jeff also already covered.
Hey, I'm sorry, all
Do
right? I love
something for
those
me
guys.
next time.
I'll ask IdrA to go next instead of Jeff on the next episode. Tyler,
Yeah.
wait, you and Kennigit are just going to promote the same thing.
No, we're not.
no, we're not.
Kennigit, go first. Go ahead.
Oh shit! Tyler throwing down the
You
gauntlet.
take one sponsor, Tyler will get the other one.
Okay. So you can follow me at Kennigit. I'm on Twitter. Hoppid currently has more followers than me. The first time he started to, he bragged about it, and then he immediately lost 600 followers. It was a bug in Twitter or something. He hasn't mentioned it yet, but I know he wants to. So please follow me and give me more followers than Hotbid. Also, I'll be at Columbus. You'll probably see me. I'll be pretending to be TLO or IdrA, or excuse me, Tyler. Yeah, I'll be wearing a Team Liquid shirt or something like that. So come say hi. Oh, I'm going to the office in New York City the week before, so I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll have fun in Columbus. So yeah, follow me at Kennigit on Twitter. Tomorrow, tune in, TSL finals, 2 p.m. and then on Sundays the grand finals for Thursday and Naniwa. And oh yeah, TeamLiquidPro.com. You know, it took us a long time to put it together, and we're really pleased with the results. So be sure to check it out. We're going to be releasing replays and things like that, and it's an easy way to follow the players.
Your turn, Tyler. What else you got?
Oh, well, first let me thank my team sponsors, the Little App Factory. Go to tlaf.com or thelittleappfactory.com. Check out their products. Pretty cool dudes. And Razer. We recently got sponsored by Razer, so thank you very much, Razer. And, of course, my MLG sponsor, Stride. I love Stride. Last longer, baby. And if you want to follow me, now the #1 place to go is teamliquidpro.com/liquidtyler. So bookmark that page. You can check out all of it. There's just like, you're hit with a million different kinds of information there. You can see my latest posts on Team Liquid, my latest tweets, my latest fan club comments. You can see a calendar with broadcast times for my games and tournaments, and just all kinds of stuff. So check that out. It's the #1 place to get all your info on me. Also, follow me on Twitter. My Twitter should be on the screen, Tyler Washleski. You can see how it's spelled right there.
No H.
Yeah, there's no H in there.
Believe it or not. I don't
so
fucking understand that.
I try not to spam my Twitter too much, so it shouldn't be too much of a burden on you to follow me. I bring you only the real shit. So follow me.
Look, what Tyler's trying to say, if you don't give a shit about who you follow on Twitter.
Exactly.
Follow Tyler. What is Jeff
Oh,
doing?
man.
I'm getting Tyler's shirt.
Oh, man. There's people that tweet so much shit.
I forgot about the shirt.
Oh, yeah, the shirt.
We're going to see what color it looks like.
All right, let's do this.
What's the color?
Look at the color of the shirt, guys. You'll see him wearing this. This is an age-old bet on State of the Game. He'll be wearing it in Columbus. I had forgotten about that shirt, man.
I haven't.
Oh, my God.
I haven't either.
I haven't.
That's going to be awesome.
So follow me on Twitter. I want to give a shout out to the Saga City tournament that I'm playing in right now. I beat Cruncher in the first round. I'm playing OGS and Snare in the next round. You can watch that on Sunday. So go to my page that I talked about on teamliquidpro.com/liquidtyler. You can see that on the calendar. And you can see me in ASL and at Columbus. And I think that's about it.
So
Is your wife coming?
She's not coming to this one. Damn. No, she can't make it.
The girl squad. Okay. I was going to say something, but I probably shouldn't. And I won't.
Probably
Not
good.
about your wife. There is another... I'll just... Okay, so I got
Are you going to say it? Are you going to...
Yeah. There is another female coming that is quite awesome, but...
Another girl to MLG? No.
Whose it could be, I don't know. Whose it could be.
Oh! I got it. I got it. I hope it doesn't affect his play.
Let's all just stare at the camera and see who doesn't stare. Anyways, here's the real question I got to ask you guys. We got 2 members of EG, 2 members of Team Liquid. Scoot from EG sent me a SteelSeries mouse pad. What is Team Liquid going to do for me, Kennigit?
What are we going to do to you? Absolutely nothing. Send you back to WoW. We're going to replace you with Combat X.
All right, man.
For a superior show.
We know who the better team is here, then.
What did you say? Who's the better team is?
Kennigit, you could actually send him that ergonomic surfboard keyboard that Razer makes that nobody uses. You could send that one to JP.
I'm not sponsored by
Hold
Razer.
on. That was a bomb. Jeff just dropped it.
That's what's up. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that.
All right, man. You had your chance, Kennigit. Could have won me over, but EG all the way.
That's right, really?
Hey, I got to get mouse pads and mice somehow. Although I got to, well, actually I'm not going to admit that. Let's do user questions. We'll take some from the chat, also from the email, SOTG questions.
Still waiting for my vodka, by the way.
We'll work on that. I got mine coming. and then we'll work on you. From Aaron, he says, "Hey SOTG folks, can we expect to see mini biographies for each of you, much in the same way that Sean did for his famous Day 9 Daily number 100? What do you guys think about that? Should I get a camera crew to follow you guys around for a day and go on a day lifestyle, or just going to be a
Can you actually not have that happen though?
Well,
that was supposed to be for number 200.
Well, I mean, he was kind of I guess that is true. I think maybe they're just talking about kind of like our personal backstories, like 100 actually was. I think 200 was supposed to be like following them around for a day. But really, it wouldn't. If they just followed us around for a day, wouldn't we just be sitting at our desk or sitting at a PC somewhere for copious amounts of hours? I don't really think our lives are all that interesting in that regards. Something to think about. Maybe we'll do something like that. From Dan, this is actually directed at Kennigit, of all people. Can you discuss the organization and technical challenges for Team Liquid?
He's actually your biggest anti-fan.
Yeah, I'm going to be banned so fast on TL for 90 days. Can you discuss the organizational and technical challenges for Team Liquid about scaling up since StarCraft 2 since StarCraft 2? Ignore new posters, issues since covered already. Okay, I wasn't supposed to read that part. Anyway.
Can you reread it with
discuss the organizational and technical challenges for Team Liquid about scaling up since StarCraft 2?
The organizational challenges,
like
obviously the biggest and most obvious one is dealing with new community members who aren't used to the sort of standard we hold ourselves to, and it's actually way harder now to I don't want to say control message because it sounds like I don't like the connotation, but it's really hard to get everybody on the same page. You know what I mean? So, someone can start a rumor and all of a sudden it's at the top of Reddit and we look at each other and it's like, why do people think this shit? So, I mean, that's been the biggest challenge. And also just within staff, the thing we've been having to deal with now is like passing down knowledge to newer guys, to banlings of what's acceptable. As far as banning people and how we deal with reports and stuff, but I think for the most part we're doing a pretty good job considering what we expected the growth, but it was way bigger than what we thought it would be initially. Technical challenges, you'd have to talk to Rich. I know we changed server, and yeah, but I mean it's pretty standard if your site's getting bigger.
IdrA, question for you: when are the imbalances episodes going to continue?
I don't.
Or is
really
the game
know.
balanced? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, not at all.
Are you and Dan trying to say that
that.
StarCraft 2 is balanced?
Next episode, Master League, balanced or imbalanced?
Yeah, we want to do it. It's just there's a lot of technical difficulties. Or it's just difficult to get set up because he is busy. Obviously, he's still casting full time. And I have all this other stuff happening with One More Game TV, and my stream, starting to cast more, and still trying to play enough to be competitive. So we want to do it. Hopefully, it'll still happen in the future. It's just hard to get everything set up.
Start spamming your questions. Oh, Jeff just knocked over.
It's alright, it's back.
We're all good. Start spamming your questions in the JTV chat. We'll take like 2 more. I hope it's on slow mode because, oh god, I'm gonna have to be Neo for a second.
Well played.
Oh my god. Oh, the big announcement that I was hyping was the GSL MLG partnership thing they announced. People want to know where Day 9 is. He's
Graduating.
Not here. He is indeed graduating.
You know what? Actually, I heard that he was upset about his argument with IdrA and has quit the show.
Yeah, that's.
I heard that too. He told me directly he fucking despises me now.
I got so livid.
People are going to take that seriously.
No, someone said that in the forum, and I got so upset, man. I shouldn't have even read that stuff. But
I'm watching you, everyone.
Oh, here's a question. One sec. Pulling a Neo. What style of casting do you feel is the healthiest for StarCraft 2?
The healthiest?
Healthiest?
Do they have
Purely analytical.
Do they have their exclusive uses? I hope I read that correctly. IdrA, since you're fresh off the casting week, what do you think is the best style of casting?
Personally, I prefer analytical by far. Most of the play-by-play commentators is just I don't get any value from listening to them. I don't find them particularly entertaining. But
Okay. Yeah, I think you're being a total biscuit about that. So.
Drop the bomb. Drop the bomb.
That's like a nuke 8.
I didn't even hear it, what I just said, but no, I do not care at all for play-by-play. I just want someone to talk about the game in an intelligent way that I can stand listening to in the background. But for the general community, I understand it's entirely necessary to have a good play-by-play commentator, and I believe you should mix in a highly analytical commentator with them, have a good pairing, to try and just educate people and really let them understand what's going on without losing the entertainment aspect. That makes it a lot more valuable for the more competitive community and generally a lot more entertaining. Like, I am about as dry and unentertaining as you can get, but there was a lot of positive feedback. People really like seeing the analytical side of things. And then you just mix in with a good play-by-play, and that gives the more casual community what they need. So really, you just have to have a mix of everything.
I gotta say, your humor in casting...
it gets better. I get a lot more comfortable in the next 2 days.
I want to see you cast more with Jeff, because Jeff really brings that out in people. I think.
Well, me and Great Tarp on the last day, like I said, we got a lot more comfortable. It's quite funny.
Well, I can't wait
a very
for that.
dry sort of way.
I can't wait for that to happen.
It's a good cast today. I think it's quite entertaining.
Jeff or Tyler, Kennigit, actually, I talk to you all the time in our secret conversations about casters. What do you think is the healthiest casting for esports?
I think the biggest flaw in people's thinking is that in order for new players who don't understand the game a lot to get engaged, they have to you need someone who's a casual caster or someone who dumbs it down, and I think that's completely wrong. The reason I even found Team Liquid was because this guy with blue hair was on a stream in 2005, being guided by this other nerd, DJ Wheat, behind the camera, and he was casting StarCraft. And I had no clue what was going on, but I learned, and I wanted to learn, and then I found this thing called Team Liquid he talked about, and I think
then you made a thread.
Yeah, then I made a thread and got completely raped by iNcotroL.
I was a part of the process. I need to be part of it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's a flawed argument because, someone like Greg, maybe he will never be total biscuit as far as, how over the top in his intonation, but you can learn that. I don't think you can learn 10 years worth of RTS experience. And you learn along the way through years and years of casting games over and over. But sometimes when me, the biggest newbie, StarCraft-wise, knows that you're saying something wrong, I'm like, come on, what are you doing? Like, if I know you're wrong, then guys way better than me know you're wrong. So, I've tried to. I actually don't hate on casters publicly anymore, but there's a very select few group of casters that I can actually sit down and appreciate. Yeah, that's it.
That's something I would have liked to add in. The play-by-play guy does need to be competent. He doesn't have to be an analytical caster. He doesn't have to be able to give insight, but he can't say things that are flat out wrong.
Right. And I think the problem people always had, like, people used to shit all over the SC2GG guys, and it wasn't because they just didn't like them. It was because the things they were saying were wrong. There was this idea that an 8-9 pylon outside Fire Natural was the Bisu build, and this penetrated for so long and took a long time to correct. But, if you had, like, someone like DJ Wheat accepts the fact that he's not that great at StarCraft, but he has a select set of skills that he can ride on. He's way better when he has someone like Greg or, Day9 to work with. I don't like the idea of having solo casters who are purely play-by-play. I much prefer them with an analytical guy, even if the analytical guy is more boring.
Jeff or Tyler, you guys got anything to add to that? I think it was...
Would you like to go first, Tyler?
Sure. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to emphasize again, you can't ever say anything that's wrong. That's the worst part for me. If people are saying stuff that's wrong, I have to mute it 100% of the time. So you can have a guy that has a very poor understanding of the game, but as long as he only says things that are right, no matter how newbie and general they are, then I can listen to him. And when he has passion for the game, And when he hypes it up more than it makes it more exciting than it actually is, then I can enjoy that. But as soon as he says something that's just flat out wrong, it's over for me. I instant mute, and I can't listen to him again. The other thing is I would love for some kind of deep analytical commentary to go on at least for 30 seconds of every game. It doesn't have to dominate a cast. You don't have to deeply analyze every single move, but if you can have a guy that understands pro-level play, just get his word in at some point, even if most people don't understand it, and maybe especially if most people don't understand it, it needs to be said, because that's one of the unique draws of StarCraft 2 is how deep it is strategically. And so you need to have that in there, even if all the noobs don't understand it, they can be in awe of the fact that so much more is going on that they don't see. And if the only thing the commentator is saying is things that they can see, and after watching StarCraft for a month for 2 hours a day, they can understand everything the commentator does. So that's not good. You need to be on the level of the pro players at least a little bit, just to give a tease to get more into how awesome of a game StarCraft 2 is. And I think that's a little bit of how the Day 9 Daily started. Is at first the daily was like, let me explain how deep and awesome and how many levels of cool things and decisions and all this other stuff is going on here in StarCraft. And that was StarCraft 1 when he started it. Now he's bridged it over to StarCraft 2. And it's kind of become more of a instructional thing. Let me teach you how to be the best player you can be, and that's awesome too. But I really respect, trying to get out there the deepest stuff, and I don't ever want to see that ruled entirely out of a commentary. That's got to be in there at least a little bit.
If I can just interject, I just wanted to say that I did say that I think is a problem when you have a solo guy or two solo guys, or a duo rather, who are purely
What about three solo guys?
Three solo guys. It's 10 p.m.
Solo.
It's like past my bedtime.
Oh my
No,
God.
what I was going to say was that I think Doa and Moletrap, I didn't have high expectations at all, but I think they've got a really cool relationship on GSL Code A. And
He's got
even
to
though,
do everything!
Yeah. But considering what I expected, I think they're doing a pretty good job. And I think because my expectations were low going in, it's been pretty entertaining for me. That was it. That was all I was going to say. I mean, basically, it's an anomaly for me to have appreciation for casters who don't have a deep analytical background.
Jeff?
Well, in the words of Kennigit, in the words of Kennigit, my opinion, the opinion of mine.
Listen, you want to know what it is? I'm 3 Red Bulls in. I've been up and by
Now,
that
see, if
time,
you drink Monster, you would not have that problem.
no.
Well played.
Well played.
Well played. The first thing I would say, and this is pretty much just like the 5-second version of what Kennigit just got done saying, is I think we can all agree that solo casters are worse. There's very few casts I see done by a single caster I'm like, that was superior to 2 people, I think. I really feel like the double caster style is much better. So that's like at the forefront for me. I feel like that's the most important thing. And then from there, I'm actually a pretty big advocate of them casting to their strengths. Like, I agree with Tyler. I think there has to be one person that... Well, okay, I mean, if they're wrong, it's just stupid. It does get distracting. Like, people say wrong things, or people are wrong on predictions, but if they're just continuously trying to speak above their station on understanding, then it gets exceedingly distracting. So there's that. But I do like the play-by-play mixed with the analytical duo. What I have a tough time with is when people are constantly like, this can't work because they're not that. I feel like people shouldn't confine all casters to those 2 roles. But obviously I think the most healthy mix is a double commentary between 2 guys who are doing play-by-play and analytical stuff. not speaking above their station, and I think some humor needs to be involved. I really feel like if you look at all the duos, there's usually one guy who keeps it pretty loose to a certain extent, I think.
I gotta interject one thing that Jeff just made me think of. Greetorf actually made a post on Team Liquid when someone was saying that all of his predictions are wrong, that he's casting the game early and he's saying, well, now this player is going to do this. But Greetorf corrected him and said, no, we don't say what they're going to do, we say what they can do. We say what their options are. If they do this, then that opens the door for doing this and this and this and this. And I think he's going to do this for these reasons. And so I really like that style. I like that Greetorf has made that distinction there of saying what the possibilities are. And it really lets the listener, the spectator, engage a little bit more, because then they know, well, look, this player could have done this, and maybe a lot of people do this, and most people do this, and that's why Greetorf said he was going to do this. But he ended up doing this other thing, and how is it different, and that kind of stuff. So I really like that commentators, or at least Greetorf, focuses less on predictions and more about just telling what the options are, what could happen. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd also like to say it's really hard to cast Terran, because in our brains, when siege tanks shoot, it's programmed that everything dies. But now in StarCraft 2, they do 35 damage, so I find Greetorf and I constantly being like, the tanks have siege in every...
Oh, they just died to Marines.
He's okay! It looks like he'll survive! And the tanks are gone! Okay. Or the other thing is when you have 8 medevacs and Marauders don't die.
Yeah.
And this is not me complaining about balance, I'm not. It's just hard to cast because, like, 7
hard to call
Marauders
some of
will
those
waddle
fights,
over.
man.
What's that?
It's hard to really call, I think, when someone is ahead in a lot of those huge fights, because to me, it's just I'm not used to the game, but for you guys, it's probably because you're used to Brood War.
Well, I'm constantly like, and the force fields go up, the Terran's pinned, this is terrible, and then like, womp.
And then the Marauders are like, what's up?
And then everything's dead.
How's it going?
And I'm like,
yo, I just killed all of him, and you're still talking about how I'm dead?
I look really bad right now. It turns out he was fine the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
the last thing I wanted to say, just before we, I guess, wrap this question, was if you're going to try and be a popular, high level as far as notoriety goes, caster, you need to accept the fact that a huge amount of people are not going to like you, and they're going to be very, very vocal about it.
Yeah.
And the people who do like you are not going to say anything.
That
They're
should
just
probably
gonna,
be rule number 1, actually, I think, of casting.
Because
expect everyone to hate you, because they probably will.
The thing that I see all the time is, like, have you ever seen Husky reply to a hater? Ever.
Unless it's IdrA, no.
I've never seen it. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so popular. Well, that's the other example. No, that's what I was going to get at, is I think Total Biscuit does himself a huge disservice by replying to people and even mentioning it as an issue. If you didn't know any better, you would think everybody loves Husky because he doesn't identify any of the people who don't. Total Biscuit makes it such a huge issue that there's this, small group of, this vocal minority of people who don't like his cast or don't like what he does, and he makes a much bigger issue than it is. If people didn't like him, he wouldn't have subscribers and people wouldn't tune in. And obviously that's not the case, so he should, get some thicker skin. And, obviously that's a maturity thing, not with regards to his age, but, with experience being a caster. But, you just have to deal with it. A lot of people don't like me, and every time I ban them, they take it very personally. So,
well, you are Canadian.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. We're the nicest people in the world. So, calm down.
Second to Australians, actually.
That's accurate. That's accurate. Last question is for Tyler.
It's hard, though, on his point, real quick. I know you want to move on, but I come from a background where I've posted 27,000 times on Team Liquid.
They were all
read everything.
Yeah.
I read everything, man. And when I commentated for the GCPL, which is, had a pretty good following. It's fine, whatever. I've done other things, cool. But when I stepped up to the North American Star League, that was a growing pain for me because I had to learn that now it's something different. So I, every single day, type up responses, delete them, next page, type up a response, delete, next page. And eventually, because I asked Tasteless and Artosis this, I was like, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, we don't read forums. You can't.
Yeah, Nick actually doesn't read them at all.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean,
So-
I think, is the same way. He doesn't open.
He
the
reads
forum.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artosis,
And people
I
are like,
think,
no, I
reads
saw
it.
him post. I saw him post. Go read the post.
Yeah, it probably
It's like
has nothing to
random rainbow in the middle of a PhD.
That's true.
Hi, had such a good day today. I love everyone. Goodbye.
I'm like the in-between where I read everything, but I don't actually respond.
He just complains to me on MSN.
Yeah, well, most of them I actually laugh at. There are a couple that I'm just kind of like, okay, that kind of upsets me, but most of them are pretty hilarious.
You have to aspire to a place where you don't like respond/read them at all, and that's got to be where you go.
Yep. Last question from Badman6. Question to Tyler: what are your family roots? He wants to know where your name comes from, where Wasilewski comes from.
Oh, well, it's Polish.
Do you know
Mostly
anything about
Polish.
your ancestors? Were they great warriors of the Polish army?
I
Nothing?
don't know. I don't know my ancestors' history. I'm sorry, but
All right.
Polish.
Someone
I have
email
some
me
English
the
information.
familytree.com or whatever that stupid infomercial that I see is, and we'll research the Wasilewskis of Poland. But that's going to do it for State of the Game. Follow us on justin.tv right below. Follow myself on twitter.com/hitmejp, youtube.com/hitmejp, facebook.com/hitmejp. I casted NASL today with Greetorp. Had a lot of fun doing that. Those games will be shown on Sunday. Definitely watch Game 1, Boxer versus Mana. Game was awesome. Can't wait for that. I'll be going to the Blizzard HQ for the Heart of the Swarm reveal later this month. Can't wait for that. Look for videos and stuff like that. It was also announced today that I'm now full-time with MLG, so self-promotion there. Also, check out SC Center. You can find that over at my YouTube. It's your daily source for all things StarCraft 2 news related. And that's actually it. So, we'll see you guys. Are we going to do a show on Tuesday, or is it too close to then? What do you guys think? Show on Tuesday? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Jeff, Tyler?
Sean, I'm good. Yeah.
For the fans, man, we got to do it.
For the fans. See you guys then.